Hey everyone, welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to teach you 5 licks that you can play over a minor 2-5. All the concepts from each of these are things that I've covered in greater depth in both my Guitar Fundamentals series and Improvise Like a Pro. We'll be primarily using the arpeggios and pivots from the harmonic minor scale and then combining those with some bebop half-step rules to make some really killer sounding lines. First, I'll play each one at a medium tempo, then do a quick breakdown so you can get a better look before taking you through the lick again slowly. If you like this kind of content, give me a shout in the comments and I'll be sure to make more quick videos like this. You guys ready? Let's get to playing. I started this one off by playing down the half diminished chord from the 7th, which then resolves to the natural 6. I then played some half steps to get down to the 7th of the E7 like this. Then I played down the chord from there and used a similar half step idea, only ascending this time, to get to the 5th of the A. I used this pivot to play the chord up with a triplet and then pivoted to the 3rd and then continued playing up the chord from there. I resolved down to the 5th by way of this half step idea. Let's go through that lick one more time under tempo. This one starts off by playing the half diminished with a displaced pivot arpeggio from the flat 5. Then I played 2 half steps to get me to the 5th of the E. Remember, a half step in this case can also just be a note that takes up space when we can't play an actual half step between 2 notes. Then I used another displaced pivot to play up the chord like this, which resolves super nicely to the 3rd. I can play a diminished arpeggio off this G sharp and resolve down super cleanly to the 5th of the A in the next bar. Using 2 half steps, I came down to the 3rd of A and played down the chord like this. I'm really thinking about A melodic minor here, so I have access to this F sharp. Then I pivoted and used this little enclosure to land with the 3rd of the A minor on beat 3. Take another look at that one under tempo. For this lick, I started out on the 3rd of the B half diminished and played the pivot arpeggio like this. Then I used 2 half steps to get to the 3rd of the E on the downbeat of the next bar. Off the 3rd, I played the diminished arpeggio with the triplet that pivots to the root. I decided to start using some rhythmic variety here and left out an 8th note so I could still use 2 half steps to get down to the 3rd of the A minor on the next downbeat. I used a little bit more space and then used 2 half steps, ascending this time, to get to the 3rd again so I could play this arpeggio from the harmonic minor that gives me the sound of A minor major 9. Let's hear that one again, just a little slower. This time, I started out on the 3rd of the half diminished again, but decided to just go straight up the chord, resolve, and then play up the chord from the root. That allowed me to resolve super cleanly on the 3rd of the E, so I can play some more diminished like this. I landed on the root on beat 3, so I used 2 half steps to get down to the 3rd of the A minor on the next downbeat. From there, I used 2 more half steps to get to the root and played the chord up from there. This time I'm thinking more along the lines of C6 or straight up A minor 7 than A harmonic minor. That arpeggio then resolves to the 6, which doesn't really land, so I had to play this enclosure to wrap things up and land on the 5th to end the phrase. Have another look at that one, slowed down. For today's last lick, I started on an upbeat so I could play the arpeggio off the 3rd here with a little variety compared to the last one. It still resolves to the root though, so this time I used 2 half steps to get down to the 3rd of E and then played the pivot arpeggio like this. That resolves here, and so I used 2 more half steps to get me to the flat 7th of the A minor. Then I played down the chord like this, which again resolves to the natural 6 in melodic minor, so I used 4 half steps this time to go down the scale and get me to the 9th, which gives this phrase a little bit of ambiguity here at the end. Let's listen to that one a little slower. There you go, guys. As promised, 5 licks that you can immediately start using in your improvisations. I hope that you enjoyed these and you found the analysis of each one to be helpful in clarifying how these types of bebop lines are constructed. Let me know down in the comments if you want more of this type of content. I always really enjoy writing little phrases like this and seeing just how much variety that I can get out of a few simple ideas. If you really like what you saw here, why not subscribe to the channel? The studio is growing every day, and it really makes me happy to know that so many of you appreciate what I'm doing here. You could also drop by my Patreon page if you're feeling especially generous. For as little as $10 a month, you can have access to all the written content from every single video on the channel, as well as some awesome monthly bonuses for patrons only. It's in part thanks to my wonderful patrons, PH, Trent Taylor, Cedric, Damon, Paulette Christopher, Josh, David Zuckerbraun, and Jazz Luminaire Vibhav Babadi that I can devote just that much more time to making these videos for all of you. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.